Everybody, welcome to the Monday Night Live, the Flip Flop Power Hour. Look at these red flip flops behind me. Isn't that cool? I need some other colored flip flops. If anybody wants to send me a cheap pair of flip flops, we'll put them as props. So we have a guest tonight. First, I think we're going to bring people in here. We're going to bring McKenna in, and then we're going to bring in Aaron St.John. Aaron and I have been friends now for about a year, I think. He's been coming and visiting Puerto Rico, and he joined our school community, and he's very active inside of the school community. Friends now for about a year, I think. He's been coming and visiting Puerto Rico, and he joined our school community, and he's very active inside of the school community. I don't like that. We're hearing some feedback, so there we go. That's better. Always good to get the technical difficulties out at the start. We're going to have a great flip-flop power hour. Aaron's got a deal or two to talk about, and we'll answer all of his questions. Back to how we get here with Aaron. Aaron's very active inside of our school community, and we started last week with the person who's the most active person for the 1 week leading up to the flip-flop power hour gets to come in and spend 15 or 20 minutes with us, and we'll talk about anything that they want. Hopefully it's real estate related. I know it will be with Aaron. Last week, Des hit it out of the park, our first time ever doing that. And so if you want to be in the hot seat like Aaron is today, next week, then join our free school community, be super engaged in there, and we'll get you on here and we'll talk about anything. So guys, are you there? McKenna, are you there? Aaron, are you there? Let's see. Unmute.
Hey guys.
Aaron gives the thumbs up. McKenna says hi. Welcome to the Flip Flop Power Hour, guys. How you doing, Aaron?
Hey, I'm doing all right, Robert.
And you're in Vermont. You're going to go skiing? Is that there's no skiing in July, is there?
We're skiing. We should get a couple of runs in first thing in the morning before the sun comes up.
Is that true? You can ski in July?
No, I'm kidding. No. It's like 90 here right now. It's like Puerto Rico weather. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, the people like me that got cold in Florida and had to move further south to get out of the cold weather of Florida. I had to move to Puerto Rico. I don't know if it snows up there now. It could be. So
yeah. Typically, April is about the end of it here. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. McKenna, you there?
I'm here. How's it going? Well,
all right.
Why don't we dive right in, Aaron? What's this deal that you've got?
Well, look, I'm obviously in Vermont right now, but I live in Maine, and I'm pretty passionate about vacation rentals and short-term rentals in the Maine market. And I'm constantly looking for deals. And over the last few weeks, I've found a couple. One I sent in to you guys. It's in central Maine. It's a single family home. It was built in the 1800s. It was an old church. It's got a list price of $85,000. And after some conversation with the seller, I believe that we could probably get it for $85,000 seller financed, or if we could just remove the seller out of the deal, we could probably get it for a little less. He's looking for some cash to take away from the deal, pretty quickly, so that he can purchase a forever farm that he wants to retire on. So that's the first deal. I think that if we were able to pick that up and put about the same amount of money in renovations, another $85,000 or $90,000, we could get it up to a real nice point where we could, rent it on Airbnb, rent it on the medium-term market, maybe to some nurses. It's near a government facility, so I haven't done a ton of exploring there, but I think that there might be some opportunity there with the workforce that's currently employed right next to it. And then if not, I think that we could probably sell it and get out of it for right around $330,000 maybe in that market.
Wow.
Yeah, in central Maine, that's the second largest market in our state. There's a lot of people there, a lot of working class people. So if the conversion was done correctly, meaning if we went to like a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, Yeah, we'd be in the 320s, 340s if we sold out on that one. Go ahead, McKenna. Looks like you had a question.
Where are you
about
getting that $85,000 renovation number? Are you pretty experienced with that kind of full gut reno?
Yeah, yeah, I'm experienced enough. I've done a full gut reno myself, but I also worked as a property manager, project manager for a high end home builder for several years, where I was responsible for doing the estimating and then finding the subcontractors and then seeing the project through. So, yeah, a job like this is a pretty small house in comparison to what I was used to. So,
Amazing.
yeah, experience on this one. I think we could get in and out for next year's rental season. So 2025.
What is the rental season for Maine?
It's a lot shorter, Robbie, than in Puerto Rico, which is why I went down there to visit you.
Yeah.
It May to October. You're pushing it. Yeah,
May to October. Okay.
Yeah, it's May to October.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to get creative. You've got to find some nurses to put in there in the wintertime, or a college student, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, it's a little bit shorter.
So what are you looking for on this deal? Like, are you in the need of partners? I mean, and if you have a guy who would do seller financing on half of the money, you're only looking for maybe $100,000 or so.
Yeah.
It sounds like a phenomenal deal. So can you walk us through the numbers after you fix it up? What kind of revenue do you think it throws off? Obviously, you're going to have tons of equity. So just thinking of it on that, if you're all in at 170 or even 180 and then can sell it for 300, 320, 340, you said, holy cow, those are great numbers. That's for a flip, like this thing works all day long as a flip.
It does. It'd be a bit softer on the rental market side of things if we were to keep it and put it on Airbnb. I know that if you use a third party company to find some data, it's going to tell you that rental will do between $50,000 and $65,000 a year. I don't think that we could do that with an $80,000 renovation. I think we'd have to do a $160,000 renovation to get that type of revenue. But I think we'd be closer to $35,000 or $40,000 in short-term rental revenue
and you would do that from May to October. You're saying you could get $35,000 coming in the door from May to October, and then maybe you could get some other longer term rental type stuff, or month to month kind of midterm rents from working people in the area, nurses or doctors or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So what would you think for the annual revenue total could be? Like 45, 50 grand?
Yeah, if done correctly, Robert. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound bad either, does it?
A 33% return cash on cash with no major expenses coming up after the renovation.
Right.
It's not bad.
Because the structure is completely gutted right now, I wouldn't expect there to be a whole lot of, short-term maintenance issues right out of the gates. Everything would be brand new, right?
How difficult is it to refinance something like that in Maine?
It wouldn't be hard,
Robert.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't think so at all. Like it's probably difficult to get a bank to lend on it right now while it's a shell, but once you've got it finished and up and running, or even if you structured your purchase, maybe with the seller, you did a lease option or something so that after you renovate it, you can go into a bank with the first money with a first purchase, and you borrow out a conventional loan at 80%, and you pull out all of your cash and have it cash flowing. I don't know if that's something you'd be looking to do if you want to be more conservative than that.
Well, I would like to be more conservative. I tend to lean.
Does the rental price include furniture and all that?
Let's ask.
Yeah, I included it, Don. So the flip that we just recently finished, we did a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and we were all in for 65,000. And it was in a little bit better shape, but it was also my first. I made some mistakes. It was my first flip, so I there were a few things I would have done a little differently to save some money. And I think this go round, it's it's in the same area, the same type of contractors. Yeah,
How did you do on your flip?
we did well. We did well, Robert.
What's well? You're all in for what, and you sold for what?
We were all in for 210,000, and we sold for 349.
You did phenomenally well.
Yeah.
I mean, that means you made $100,000 plus.
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
The flip took us 8 months. We did it in under a season.
Nice.
So we purchased it in the spring, and we were rented for the following season.
All right. So you've got like a track record of success. You know the area. You know what it's going to cost to renovate it. This sounds like a pretty damn good deal.
Well, maybe somebody out there would like to jump in.
Well, so what are you looking for? Are you trying to do a 50-50 split with someone? They bring all of the cash, you do all of the work?
Yeah, I think that, if you guys would agree with that recommendation, I think that would be that would be great. I'm here in Maine. I can do the flip, and then we can get it listed and rented. There wouldn't be a whole lot of work for somebody that had a checkbook. I think so. Yes, that would.
Yeah, so this is the kind of thing that we hope to do inside of the community, right? Is to hear about these opportunities and opening up the door for people who want to do real estate. Someone can come alongside of you. You're a guy who knows what he's doing, has done it before, has been successful, and even like myself, I wouldn't ordinarily be exposed to deals in Maine. Like I would never be exposed to deals in Maine if it wasn't for you being a part of this community and bringing us this deal, right? And that really does sound like a pretty good deal. So I'm interested to see as we go through the conversation if there are going to be some people who want to hear more about it. I would hope so. I mean, listen, if you're a real estate investor and you're sitting on $100,000 and you like what you're hearing, this is something that's at least worth having the conversation about and seeing if you guys can come to a deal. And that's what we want to do inside of this community, right? Like that's what we want to hope to facilitate is to have a community that does deals together. And if you do it, by the way, then we'll have to fly up to Maine and document it and maybe do a YouTube video about it.
Yeah. Perfect.
I would love that.
That would be a good testimonial.
Yeah,
I'd love that.
I went ice fishing one time in Maine. It was beautiful. I've only been one time, but I'd love to come back.
Well, we can handle the ice fishing, Robert.
I love it.
Yeah.
So
and
Aaron,
ice fishing is great. I think like once every 10 years, you go and you freeze your ass off, you catch a few fish, and then get the hell out of there.
Yeah, I feel that way about Vermont, believe it or not. So this is my once in a 10-year visit here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I love it.
What were you going to say, McKenna?
Aaron, have you considered getting a hard money loan on this and doing it as a flip to then refinance out the hard money lender to keep as an Airbnb, and you just have 100% of the deal?
I have, and we may go that route depending on. So right now I held off. I reached out to you guys 2 days ago. And thankfully you responded. I had some questions about the letter of intent and the timing on that. So my intentions now when I get back is to put the wheels in motion. And if somebody hasn't come forward and said, I'd love to partner up with you, Aaron, then my next pursuit is going to be to find somebody to lend me the money, myself. So yes, to answer your question, McKenna.
Aaron,
Awesome.
so I hear what you're saying, and I like that you're already thinking that way. I will encourage you that the way that I go about doing deals, this is just how I do it. I decide I'm going to do something. And I think it sounds like you've decided you're going to buy this. And then I would present it that way. Hey, flip flop community, what are we called? I don't even know. But anyways, guys, I'm doing this deal. Who would be interested in coming alongside of me? And that way you're inviting people to come in and you get to have conversations and hopefully you put a deal together. But regardless of whether or not it happens, you're determined and you're not unsure of what's going to happen. You're going to go forward and buy it. If you have to get a hard money loan, it's going to happen. That way, I just think it makes it more certain that you're going to actually do this and you're going to complete the project and you're going to make the money. So I like that little mindset shift, right? Into, hey, I'm doing this deal and who wants to come alongside of me? If somebody wants to do this with me, great. If not, no problem. I'm still doing it.
And it's also really powerful when you present it to a friend, a family member who has money to invest with you and they're not sure and they drag their heels and they end up missing on this deal. You go and do the deal, you make a ton of money. They're going to ask you about it the next time you talk to them and you're like, oh yeah, I made $100,000 on that one. And the next time you bring a deal to them, they 100% will be ready to go. And it's just a good way to present it when you're telling people what you're doing and inviting them in, as opposed to asking them to help you do it, and that you can't do it without them, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you already have a track record of success. So I know that you did the flip. I know that you've managed properties for other people in the area, and you were doing Airbnb stuff as well. So you have this proven track record that you really do know this area quite well. You want to talk about some of your other experience, just so that because I know you because we've spent some time together, but the rest of the community here, this is their first time meeting you.
Yeah. Well, if I had to do an elevator pitch on what I do, I'm a property manager and I've been absolutely passionate about Airbnb since 2014. I entered the market here in Maine when it was very, very new. I listed the 41st listing in the state of Maine. And when I put it on Airbnb, I took a booking within a few minutes and I was hooked, and I've been hooked ever since. So, I've had my hands on, I don't know, we must be approaching about 100 doors in the last decade. We awesome. We spent some time managing a resort. I hired a staff and, we took care of all the rentals and all the pool maintenance and all the check-ins and checkouts and all the, so the hospitality side goes almost as deep or deeper than the house flipping side. That was, my most sort of recent, endeavor where I went to learn. I wanted to learn how to flip houses, how to remodel houses. I did that for 3 or 4 years, flipping high-end houses. So I'm at a point now where I got a little piece of that ownership, Robert, and I'm ready. I want to do this all the time. I want to flip houses, find people that want to flip houses with me. So yeah, that's my experience. I'm passionate about short-term rentals, and yeah, the sky is the limit if you're with the right people.
I think so, and I think your enthusiasm is what will sell people to want to be in business with you. Like the fact that you can point to a track record of success is great, and then that we can tell how excited you are about it. I really think it's something where you're kind of a natural at this, and if you can continue to put these deals together, wow, that you're going to find somebody who wants to partner with you and do this again and again and again. Hell, you're selling me, and honestly, I don't want to invest further than I am, right? Like I like to invest in my own backyard, and I'm already running things on an island and then in Florida. But it is exciting. It's a project that clearly should make a ton of money. You're buying, if you did go the traditional route and someone put up 180 grand, then they come in and they could probably get better than 10% return on their capital while you are while you're running the Airbnb, and then you either refinance out and it just becomes straight cash flow, or you guys flip it and there's tons of equity. So when someone buys in with you, you're looking at a deal where if you sell it for that 340, like you said, and split the profits with them on that, that's a massive return for someone who comes in with and writes a check and you do all of the work. I love that deal.
So do I.
McKenna, what do you got? Anything else that we can add here? Are there questions yet inside of our chat? And we could bring it to the group. Aaron, if you've got, before we go to questions out there, do you have any other questions for us that you wanted to cover here tonight?
Well, the only question that I have is how do I reciprocate, Robert? So we've had a lot of questions. You know that eventually I want to do business on the island.
Yeah.
You know, there is some opportunity in having conversation about the tax incentives. And I know that I've got some friends here that, although they're not so interested in flipping houses in Maine, they might be interested in flipping houses in Puerto Rico, especially if there were some sort of tax incentive. So assuming I can use my experience and my enthusiasm, and this deal turns out super profitable and everyone wants to do business with me, Robert, how do I have conversations with the people that I know here in Maine about investing in Puerto Rico with me or with Adon or with you?
I think it's much the same that you would have the conversation about the deal you just presented. I'm always a deal first guy, right? So I think if you follow our channel, you'll hear me say that time and again, that I believe everything starts with going out and finding a great deal and then presenting it to people to come alongside you and doing it. It's nice that that you have a proven track record, and it's nice to be enthusiastic about it. But I think it all starts with finding a great deal. So perhaps there's something where we could do something if I've got a deal going on, and we've talked about other stuff, so that I'm not like surprising you here. We've talked about trying to do a deal in Puerto Rico before. So maybe there's a deal coming up that we can bring to some people that you want to introduce to Puerto Rico and put it together. And I could help you with that. But again, if you're going to do it on your own, or you're going to do it with Adon and McKenna or anybody, I really think that it's always a deal first type situation like that. That's the easiest place to have the conversation, to start jumping off into, hey, I'm doing this. And have you heard about hospitality in Puerto Rico? And why would you care about hospitality in Puerto Rico? It's not just that you get to buy A+ property and it cash flows like a beast, but you also get to take advantage of these tax credits and other benefits that happen through Act 60. And that only happens in Puerto Rico, and opportunity zones. If somebody has, if they earn their money through capital gains, then they can defer capital gains and invest in an opportunity zone. Most of the island, you can stack opportunity zone investing with Act 60 tourism. And if you and I, for instance, were going to go to someone who in Maine that is a high net worth individual that's got some money, I think we'd find a deal first. We'd play off a proven track record, and then we would sing about the glorious things that happen here on the island, and I bet a small part of it, maybe it's a big part of it, would be, hey, what about investing in something on the ocean in Puerto Rico and coming and having use of the property they invest in, during the really cold part of the year in Maine.
Yeah,
that's probably a big selling.
Yeah, that's the selling point right there.
That's probably a big selling point for where you are, specifically for where you are, right? So
I have a question about your deal.
Sure.
Would you, because you're managing the property, would you be also taking a 20% management fee ahead of whatever dividends will be paid out monthly?
I think if I took on a partner, I wouldn't do that. If I went and took on hard money, I probably would.
Of course.
And I think the reasons for that are probably pretty obvious, but
Yeah.
I think that's how I would do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way we generally set up. Now, sometimes when you get going and you have a bunch of them, you'll outsource that management. And if you're outsourcing it and then it's not going well, and then you take it over, maybe you do it for cheaper. Like if it was 20%, you come in and you do it for 15% and do a better job. But a lot of times, well, we're always outsourcing. So we only manage the management and in Puerto Rico, right? Like, so we do a lot of hospitality. And when we raise money, we are paying someone to do that management. So it does come off, but it's not us taking the money.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
I think especially with a single unit, it doesn't make a ton of sense to charge a management fee in a partnership. You know, if you're putting together a $5 million resort with hundreds of rooms and you're managing a
Bunch
whole
of employees.
an enterprise, then I think there starts to be a conversation of, well, this is a larger deal. We should make this part of the deal structure that if I am going to do ongoing management, that we're going to have to pay somebody to do it. If I'm going to do it, I deserve to get paid. But when it's just a 1 unit, a 2 unit, a 3 unit, even, that's not how I would do it.
Yeah, and I like that. Really simple. The money gets half, the work gets half, right?
Yeah.
Like that is just such a great structure. We've been really successful with that structure. And when I go into that relationship with a partner who's putting up the money, once we've decided what the deal is, we try not to change it a lot. Like we're not looking to make big changes down the road. We go into a partnership, the money gets half and the work gets half, and live with the deal that you've made. I see partnerships break up over it often, right? Like even in the scenario I said earlier, where you're paying someone 20% and you don't think they're doing a good job, and then you come in and do a better job at 15%, it can still rub your partner the wrong way, right? So I like your attitude of, hey, if I've got a partner and they're putting up the money, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to be a good partner, and I'm going to kind of under promise, over deliver. So I think like McKenna said, especially when you're doing one-off deals and you're not managing an empire, it does get to where if you've got 100 doors, then you might have staff or something that you have to pay. But I try to stick to that deal of being 50-50.
Yeah.
Does anybody out there in the chat have any questions to ask Aaron? Maybe about his deal, maybe how you would like to partner with him. Do you have any photos, Aaron, or something you could share with us so we can look at the property, get the same vision you're seeing? Maybe of the lake.
It's a very small. It's a pond. So it's a pond, not a lake, and there's a difference there. Do I have some? Yeah, there. Don, there were some pictures attached in the post that I put in the community.
Which community was it?
The deal of wherever you asked to post the deal of the week. Is that in the Apex or in the Flip Flop Flipper?
That's in the Apex.
Okay, so it's in the Apex group.
All right. Well, he's looking for it.
About to find out.
He's looking for it. Guys, ask your questions. How many people do we have watching? This goes best for us when you guys ask lots and lots of questions, and we'll go for about an hour. So we try to be realistic with everybody's time. We want to give you guys as much value as we possibly can. So the more questions that you have, and I think we've got a great conversation going. So Aaron, it's awesome. Thank you again for, coming and sitting down with us and bringing a deal that we can talk about. Again, this is really what it's all about. Oh, he did find your little picture of a lobster, and
Yeah.
there's the pond, and here's the house.
Hey, Don, I don't think it's transferring over on the screen share. At least it's not for me.
You're doing it on your phone though, right? Hold on.
Let's get it on the screen share. We'll pull it up, guys. And I'm looking at it going, wow. So when you're doing Airbnb, Aaron, in Maine, How do you differentiate yourself from everyone else who is doing it, or is it a small enough market that you're just going to get your share, or do you have to really do something special to get people to come to your property?
It's a combination. Robbie, I think it's a combination of those things. We focused on the cleanliness of our rentals.
Yeah.
Right. I know how silly that sounds. But when we started in 2014, we actually went out into the market and started talking to people to try and to take over management of their current listings. There was a lot of VRBO listings, and there were a lot of mom and pop like real estate houses that had listing sites here in southern Maine in the early 2000s. And the one thing that we noticed that we would always win on is if we kept it cleaner than everyone else. Everyone falls down on the cleaning. Every person that tries to manage their vacation rental on their own, the only struggle they're ever going to have is keeping it cleaned. Anybody that's trying to grow a property management business, the only struggle, not the only, but the biggest struggle they're going to have is figuring out how to consecutively clean more than one or two or three or four rentals on any given Saturday. So we recognized that right at first, and we focused really deeply on building strong cleaning teams. And that's kept us in the superhost status on Airbnb for almost a decade. Like it really has. Our places are super clean. We know how to communicate. If you can do those two things, you're doing okay. Now, in terms of having a very, a special property or something that has, something that nobody else has, in southern Maine, not in central Maine, but in southern Maine, the market is very competitive. There are, most of the rentals are $1 million homes. They're, single family $1 million homes. So they're not necessarily special. They were just, they were designed by a designer or an architect, and you can tell that difference. So there aren't a lot of like themed Airbnbs in Maine. People are kind of, they're coming to Maine for the theme that Maine is,
Nature.
Nature. Yeah.
Nature. Red lobster and nature.
Yeah.
Aaron,
awesome.
I booked an Airbnb today for Eureka, California. And that absolutely was my deciding factor on multiple Airbnbs. I looked at the photos and I'm like, that does not look spotless in the photo. It's not going to be spotless when I get there. And I did not book them. So you were saying that, and I'm like, yeah, that checks out for me.
One of the fun things that you can do, this is just a little trick that I started doing when AI, kind of became mainstream. But you can take your listing and take all of your reviews, or take all of your collective reviews, or go and take somebody else's reviews if you want. You just cut and paste all those and you throw it into ChatGPT and then ask it to give you some feedback, and your mind would be blown at how quickly you can pinpoint what you need to fix inside of your rental, and then what you need to accentuate because everyone is liking it. And you'd be surprised at how quickly and how often clean is mentioned in a review. That's what people review on. So, yeah.
So that was $1 million tip I think you just gave out. I really like that.
I agree. That's gold, right? Like, so you've been doing this Airbnb stuff for 10 years, which is phenomenal. I think you're just dropping some really little golden nuggets there. And as simple as it sounds, just having a place that's clean. And we try to do that on the island. We want to have our place look like no one's ever stayed there before, so every time someone checks out, we go in and clean it. And our goal is to have it look like no one, that when the next person comes, it's the first time anybody's ever stayed there.
That's beautiful. That's like, that's beautiful, Robert.
We don't always succeed, but that's what we're
No.
going for.
Oh,
Yeah,
we for the
no.
most part do.
But we really prioritize that. And in Puerto Rico, we've seen that you have to get more special properties. So there's a lot of Airbnbs. There's a lot of run-of-the-mill Airbnbs now on the island. So themes are becoming more of a thing. Having if it's a house on the lake, having the fire pit, and I don't know what other things you can have, kayaks or whatever, but something that differentiates you from other places. Or obviously in Puerto Rico, if it's oceanfront, ocean view, has a pool, these kind of special features that you can only get through an Airbnb experience.
Right.
So real quick, Aaron, we have your presentation pulled up. I don't know if you want to go over it real quick, kind of explain to everybody what we're looking at.
Well, sure.
The lobster self-explanatory.
That's a Maine lobster right there, and everyone needs to try one of those. So that's
Is this the house?
that is the house. So as I mentioned, it used to be a church. It's a cape.
I like the pond.
Yep. The pond is not much bigger than what you can see there. I have to be honest. It wraps around to the like the left of the house and in the back a bit, but more than enough for somebody that hasn't been, some flatlander or someone from the Midwest that hasn't been to Maine or to a lake. More than enough for them to spend a couple of days, get the experience, and then take off. And that's really what I think about this particular. This isn't a week-long rental. This wouldn't be a Saturday to Saturday Airbnb. This would be a 2 or 3 nights. Quick hits. We'd flip it a lot. That's how this one I think would run. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there fishing in the pond? Do you have pike?
There is some fishing. I have not fished it though, Robert.
Okay.
Yep, I haven't fished it. So that picture shows the house is actually the house has got some siding on it now. It's got vinyl siding on this side of the house. So there's it's a little bit further along, and I think on the right hand side, this is
from the 1800s.
This is a crawl space,
Yep.
So no foundation on this one.
Do you guys get termites up there?
No, not really.
Oh, lucky you.
You're so lucky.
Yeah, no, not really.
So everything's built with wood. And
Everything, yeah.
it lasts forever.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing the difference in the different regions that you see.
Yeah,
So,
we just deal with rot from melting snow. That's really that's what gets us. The stuff starts to rot because the snow sits, the ice sits, whatever. On that one, Adon, I just broke down what the renovation might look like. Those numbers are they're pretty close. The only thing after I presented it to you, I gotta be transparent. I did not account for insulation. So in my numbers there, I probably got to add another, $4,500 or, $5,500 for insulation that I missed on that one.
okay.
We could do electrical and plumbing here for a whole house for $23,000, it'd be great.
We should be, but we really should be able to.
I look at these numbers and I'm like, oh my God, I wish we could do that
really
here.
Should be able to do that, but yeah.
All right.
And then as I mentioned, I use any data that I can, and I try and extrapolate, based on the data that I'm finding and then on my experience. And if you look here, AirDNA's going to tell you that this will do about $50,000. That there's not a lot of attraction in Central Maine, meaning, there's no theme park or so the person booking this rental would be booking it for the rental experience on a body of water in Maine. Therefore, our season would be very much limited to the weather versus the weather and then having an attraction. That number is a little high to me. So, you know, I think between 30, probably 35 and, you know, 40 to 45,000 in the Airbnb market. And then if we wanted to sell out of that one, you can see there what the average sale price, and the comps are all over the place. There are 1 bedrooms for 500,000. There are 4 bedrooms for 250,000. It just really depends. They're all over the place in that market. And
how would you own the property? Well, you keep going, and then I'll ask questions. Sorry, I'll let you go through your presentation.
Okay. The only thing that I did here, guys, is I made the assumption that I would be using some sort of hard money here. So I amortized out the loan, two separate loans. One to make the initial purchase of the property, and then one as the renovation. And those are those numbers there. So obviously that could be, manipulated 100 different ways, whether or not the seller would be willing to finance it. Then, based on some conversations and things that I picked up from you guys last week and inside of the group, I would probably figure out a monthly price that I would be willing to pay this guy, and go that route versus some sort of amortization schedule.
Plus a hard money loan for 15%.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my eyesight's terrible at dawn, so I can't even see those numbers, to be honest.
I'm sure they're good.
Yeah, so those were just some quick amortizations to give us a starting point of how much we would be burning through as we were renovating. This one's solid. I like this one.
So Aaron, people ask me all the time, they're like, hey, McKenna, I think I found a deal. How do I go talk to someone to raise money? And I'm going to clip this video and say, this is what you need. If you have this, you are now prepared to go talk to someone to go raise money. I mean, it is, this is exactly what you need to do, guys. If you have a deal, I mean, this is almost too good where you don't have to go this far. But if you do go this far, it's going to make your life raising money so easy.
Yeah, you've really presented it very, very well. Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
So let's open it up to questions. And I have a question for you. If I or someone else wants to do this deal with you and come in and be the money partner, how would you own this deal? Would you buy it in a one-off LLC? I'll ask this question. Do you use land trusts in Maine, or is that not a thing? What's your thought there?
I would put it in a one-off LLC.
Okay. And then we'd both own the LLC together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So Nisha asked, what about hunting? Isn't that like a major attraction maybe to that area?
Oh, can you hunt in that area?
Yeah. Yes and no. Yes and no. I think that's a whole niche, to be honest with you.
There are a lot of deer.
What was that?
Is there a lot of deer? Like, what would you hunt up there?
Yeah, there's a lot of deer. The moose hunts in Maine are a big deal.
Nice.
There's a lottery. Bear hunting is pretty big. But I think that there are people, there are rentals, there are hunting camps that do that very well. So Nisha, to answer your question, yeah, you could rent it to a hunter. I don't know as though I would spend any marketing money marketing it to hunters, if that answers the question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they're coming out of town, they're looking for a place to stay. They have to look on Airbnb or some sort of cabin lodge type thing.
Well, hunting camps will generally have the cabin lodge experience, but I mean, I might rather stay in your Airbnb and go to the lodge for the hunt and let them serve dinner and then not sleep in their barracks. I've been to some hunting camps and they're not the most comfortable. This isn't real good living, right? Like you're in with a bunch of guys and guns, and it can be kind of gross.
Yeah.
We have a question here from Pip Pay For It. How can you pay for these loans while the preparation, I think he means renovation, a personal job, use savings, a paycheck lender at the end once it's all on market? For me, my favorite way to pay for the loans is to borrow the money from the lender and use that money to pay for it. Now, you need to have a good enough deal that you have room to do that, and you need to be quick enough where you can't hold these loans for a year or 2 years and just have that monthly bleed coming out every month, month after month. You need to be on these deals where you're renovating. The day you buy it, your crews should be out there figuring out, hey, what do we need to do? How can we start demo? What can we do this week? And renovations, if you're prepared and ready to go, only take a couple months at most. No, I won't say at most. A couple months at least.
Yeah.
Well,
They
that's
certainly
a good,
can
good
take years
question.
and years.
What would your renovation take there on this house in Maine? How long would your renovation take?
I mean, I calculated for a year, like 10 months I put on the sheet. I think that it would take all of that simply because of the amount of time it takes to, I don't have a team currently.
Yeah.
Right. So I would have to build a team in that area. Do I have resources? Do I know people? Can somebody drive an hour to come and do some wire? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't have a team in central Maine.
Is Maine a big state? Like how long does it take to drive from one end to the other?
6.5 hours.
Okay. So it's a big state.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
Yeah. So this property is about an hour and 20 minutes from where I live, which is totally, that's close. That's good.
That's a good distance for you. You wouldn't have a problem managing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what McKenna was saying makes a lot of sense with borrowing the money to pay for the loans. However, if I'm starting out and I don't have any money and I don't have a job that can afford to pay the interest, I'd probably go the partnership route. I know your pro forma is set up basically as taking out hard money loans, but if you did find a partner who put up the 180 grand, you don't have that problem now. I mean, you just have a partner who's going to get half of the money. So it's more expensive, but you also sleep better at night. I've done it both ways, guys. I don't think that there's a right way or a wrong way. And I think you can kind of look at it on each deal. But if I'm asking the question on how I'm going to pay for the interest on the loan, then that probably means that I'm probably then going to lean towards taking a partner so that I don't have that headache. If I don't know that I have the ability to pay for the loan every month, I don't know that taking out a hard money loan is the best way. I can tell you this: when you owe money or when I owe money and I'm struggling to pay, which back in 2008 I didn't sleep for damn near 2 years. Like all I did was think about how to pay for that loan. And so then after that, we changed to this partnership route and I sleep a lot better. So, yeah.
You gonna buy this deal? I want to go hunting.
Well, if I buy it, I think we definitely have to go on a moose hunt. Whether I want to actually shoot a moose or not, I don't really know. But I'd love to go on the hunt.
Yeah,
I like to hunt. I just don't like to actually get anything.
Yeah.
Like about the journey.
I started deer hunting a few years ago, and I've never shot a deer. I've shot at one deer, and I was like, I'm pretty glad that I got to shoot at the deer, but I missed. No big deal. I didn't feel bad about it. I just kind of like the experience of it.
Yeah.
Being outdoors.
Don though. Don he's all. I can see his face. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Don wants to shoot it and eat the liver, and right there.
Yeah, there. Paint my face with blood.
Yeah, pull the heart out.
Yeah,
while
exactly.
it's beating. Yeah,
let us know in the chat, guys, what kind of animal you want to go hunt and kill.
Yeah, and guys, inside of here, I hope we're starting to get some questions. Do you guys have any questions about Aaron's deal? Aaron, how can they get a hold of you if they're not in the community? Do you want to give out an email address or something like that? Obviously, guys, join us on School. it's a free community, and we're trying to network there. And that's where Aaron posted this deal. So I think many people that are watching are in that community. But if you're not, Aaron, how can they get hold of you?
You can reach me at Aaron, that's double Aaron, at wickedgoodvacationrentals.com.
Okay.
Aaron at wickedgoodvacationrentals.com.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So Nisha said I would add 15% buffer overall to, I guess, to the renovation budget.
She's talking about for adding 15% in order to pay for, I think, in answering the question of how to pay for these loans. If you add that extra 15%, Nisha, I think that's what you're saying, and that does make sense.
And she's saying she would hunt the bear.
I'll hunt the bear too. I really don't know if I want to shoot at a bear.
You don't want to miss.
Think actually,
with the bear.
Yeah, you don't want to.
do moose or bear kill more people in Maine? Which I think moose are pretty dangerous, aren't they?
Moose, actually, believe it or not, there was a couple of people that unfortunately were killed by a moose in a vehicle accident just a couple of days ago.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's you hit their legs and they roll up onto your vehicle. That's why they're so dangerous.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Escalade.
Yep.
Yikes. So do we have another question?
So Pip said, so basically with a partnership, you can structure the repayment at the end, whether it's by the profits from the Airbnb operation or it's just sale of the property.
Yeah, so that's right. So when you do a partnership like we've talked about during this conversation, is somebody comes in with the money and say Aaron does all of the work, finds the deal, gets it renovated, and makes it operate to make money. And then you're sharing the money once you have revenue. So as opposed to borrowing all the money and you start an interest rate burn day one, you'd have a window where you don't have to pay anything to your investor, but they're going to get more. Like it's definitely, if you're doing it as a flip and you know you're going to buy it, fix it, and sell it, you're probably way cheaper to borrow the money in a hard money situation. If you're going to hold it for a longer period of time, it starts to even out. Or if you're like me and you want to be able to sleep at night, you just give up half and you sleep well at night. But you share in everything, right? Like, so when you're doing a 50-50, it's if $100 comes in rent, your partner gets $50 and you get $50. If you're doing a loan and $100 gets in rent, all of the money goes to paying the loan until you're above what you owe on the loan, right? Does that make sense to everybody?
And then Pip, at the end of the deal, when you go to sell this Airbnb in 10 years, the investor gets all of their money back first, and then any remaining money from the sale then gets split 50-50. So all expenses will get paid back. And then if there's any money left over, which there definitely will be in this case, that gets split 50-50.
I know that we're going to have a master class inside of the Apex school group about deal structure. It's not going to be this week, but coming up sometime soon. We've got some different surveys going on, and I know that deal structure is one that we will deep dive into over there on that platform sometime soon. So if you want to check that out, we'll sort of let everybody know when we're doing that. But that's something that I think is fun. I love deal structure. Deal structure for me has been something that keeps real estate exciting. I'm constantly looking for different ways to do deals, and we've done, man, just about every deal structure you could name. So we'll do a deep dive deal structure masterclass in the near future.
Well, want to open it up again to the chat. I think if anybody has any questions about Aaron's deal or just in general about their own deals, let's put them in the chat now. We've been going for about an hour. So
yeah, your 15-minute segment went long, Aaron.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
Well,
guys.
you know what?
It was a good one.
That's I'm okay. I hope that
okay with
everybody
it
was as interested in it as I have been, because I think it's great. I love that we're talking about a deal in Maine. Like, I mean, honestly, Adon, you and I've never talked about doing real estate in Maine. Now if you can come up with the money, I'll go with you on the bear hunt.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
All right. I like it. Let's do it. What did you say? 180,000?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
You know what's nice
We'll
is
find
I've got another one I'll submit this week for you guys. It's way up north.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I think, Aaron, we should put your deal back up on the community and kind of talk about it there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Get
think that's
people
I think
interested,
that's a
because I
really
think
good
there-
idea.
There's people looking for this type of product, and I'm pretty sure we could raise the money there.
In the chat, real quick, even if you don't have a question, how many people are interested in Aaron's deal? Just comment yes if you have some interest. I'm saying yes. I'm interested in it, but you know what? I'm a deal junkie. I'm interested in every deal, and it's fun to talk about.
So we have a question from Frank. It says, for Puerto Rico Airbnb market, how would you calculate projected percentage for management and cleaning?
Oh, okay. So on our Airbnbs or our small guest house, we calculate the property management at about 20%. So it's on a small one-off, 20% is pretty much, you can find someone to do it for you for that. And then your cleaning fees are going to be separate from that. They're going to be on top of it. However, you get to charge for those. So if you're spending $100 per cleaning, you can, on most sites, put it out there as you have a nightly rate plus a cleaning fee at the end of their trip.
Yeah.
We try to make the cleaning fees a profit center, but I'll be full disclosure, we don't usually profit from the cleaning fees. It's something seems to always go wrong. It's not a very big margin, but at least the cleaning fees are being paid by it. The cleaners are being paid by the cleaning fees mostly. We don't really make a profit, but we try.
Well, if you want to look at it as a profit, then you really have to charge really high cleaning fees. But the way I see it is, if you're charging $100 and you can pay the cleaner 45 and keep the rest of the money, and not for profit, but to pay all the materials you have to pay, like the Clorox and all that stuff, then I think you're winning. You're not, you won't have to be taking stuff out of pocket eventually.
And then, I'll answer the question this way too. If you're bigger, if you're going like a 7-room guest house to like 25-room, we're seeing that the operational costs for something like that are 35 to 50%. So,
for how much? How big?
For the surfing turtle, for instance, when you were managing the surfing turtle, it was costing us probably close to 50% of the revenue on a 7-room guest house in Luquillo. And
that was me plus the cleaners.
That was you
and
plus the cleaners plus
Costco runs and
whatever.
everything.
Yeah.
Internet.
All of the materials you're talking about, going to Costco, light repairs, all of that stuff. It was probably at least 50% on that. It's maybe a little less than that on a bigger property for us. And the nice thing is, on the bigger properties, it'll kind of get capped.
Okay. Why would it get capped?
Your revenue starts to outpace the expense of your staffing.
All right. Well,
do we have any other questions, you guys? Otherwise, this was phenomenal for me. I hope you guys enjoy this format. I really like it. Aaron, thanks for sitting down and talking to us. Would really like to stay engaged with you and see what happens with this deal. I'd like to watch you put it together and then get updates from you and hear how it goes. And if you guys want to be in this hot seat like Aaron was today, next week, get really engaged over there on school. And if you guys aren't a part of that, is there a link that we can put out here for?
Yeah, the link is in the comments.
The link is in the comments. If you're not already a part of that free community, come over there.
We got one more question. I don't know if you guys mentioned this already, but would a partnership make the most sense forming an entity like LLC and 50/50?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, we did talk about that, and that's what Aaron said he would do, and that's what we would often do, is form a one-off LLC, and you buy into the LLC. So the LLC owns the asset, and you guys own the LLC together.
Yeah,
that's a really common way to structure a deal, and it makes a lot of sense.
So I'm gonna put the school link one more time here in the comments, so you guys have it.
And hey guys, if you liked this session, the Zoom call, whatever you want to call it, the Monday Night Live. We do a master class on Thursdays. I know Robbie mentioned it earlier, but every Thursday we're going to be covering a different topic. They're going to be pretty in depth. We're going to go over case studies. We're going to go over real examples. If you want to be a part of those Thursday calls, you need to join the Apex group. We can post a link for that as well. We'd love to see you there also.
Yes, the one we're posting now is for our free community over there. If anybody does want the Apex, let us know in the comments right now, and I'll send you that link.
Yep.
We got 2 more questions. Let's see what we got here.
Let's run through 2 more questions, and then we'll call it a night.
Alan says, I've had good luck with long-term rentals versus short-term rentals, only losing about 200 versus cleaning costs, etc. Also, no strange renters with no background checks. Thoughts?
We do both, Alan. So in Puerto Rico and in Orlando, Florida, we've done both. We love the long-term rental, buy it, fix it, rent it. That has been amazing for us. It's a true wealth builder, and probably I probably still like it better than I like the nightly rental. But if you're going to invest in real estate in Puerto Rico, and you're looking at a place that could do Airbnb and you can put 7 of them together and get 40% tax credits, it's really hard to say no to that gift, right? Like that's just the truth, right? We have about an equal number of nightly rentals on the island as we do long-term rentals. We came here to Puerto Rico and thought we would only do the long-term. I didn't even really think we would do Airbnb. And now we invest in a lot of small guest house hotels. So I like a good mix, but for all of the reasons you said, I love long-term rentals. One more.
Hey guys, I have a question about purchasing in PR. Are there non-traditional loans like hard money? Yes.
Yeah, so we're starting to see more hard money lenders show up to the island. Even inside of our school community, we're starting to see a few people who are doing hard money loans, and some of them, I know Cedric is in there. He's doing hard money loans on the island. I think there's
Leonid.
1 or 2 others. Leonid is in there. Is he doing hard money on the island of Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I asked him.
I think he is. Yep.
Okay, so, and this is brand new, right? So we had been here for 6.5 years on the island and really haven't seen any hard money lenders. Only over the last 18 months or so has that become a thing. And I really believe that all of the different lending arms are going to arrive to the island soon, but hard money is definitely here on the island finally. So thank goodness for that.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you are in the community, just pose a question. There'll be a couple of people who are in there. If you're interested in doing it too, let people know.
Yes, people are looking.
Yep. That's about it, unless you want to talk about another deal.
No, I think we should kind of cap it here at around an hour if there aren't any more questions, and I'll let Aaron have one last word, and then we'll say goodnight. Aaron, you got anything you want to say before we call it a night?
Just that I appreciate the opportunity, Robbie, to hang out with you guys in the school community. I learned a lot already in the first couple of weeks just chatting with some of the people in there, and I look forward to doing a deal with somebody here. Let's make something happen.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, thanks for sitting down with us, and that's why we started the school community, is so we can be more interactive. And I love the thought that, your deal, maybe you'll find a partner in there, and we'll get to be a small part of it and cheerlead you or fly out there and do a video about it. I don't know where it'll go, but this is our heart, right? We want to find ways for more real estate transactions to take place, and that's what we're building. That's what the community's for.
That's awesome. Hey, Aaron, stay around. Don't go anywhere, all right?
All right, guys. That's great. Thank you very much. Good night.
Real quick, guys, in the chats are the links to our free school communities. Don't miss out on so much more information that's being uploaded. Our fix and flip course will be up there. A couple master classes will be up there as well if you're looking for more knowledge.
Yeah,
that's about it. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Good
night, guys.